All right, we are live. We are live. Welcome, everyone. Happy Monday. We're back for another episode of Just Shilling. I'm glad that you all are here to join us. We have another great guest with us today, as always. And before we do get into it, folks, just wanted to let you know that nothing we share here today is going to be considered as financial advice. We are all adults, but anything that's probably a little bit too controversial for a family dinner during the holidays, we'll avoid those topics here during this discussion. So much to talk about, and we have an incredible guest in Chris Wright here from 21Shares. So, Chris, welcome to the podcast. Let's get into it and give the folks in the audience maybe a 30-second, 1 minute elevator pitch about who you are and what you're all about.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Trevor. So my name's Chris Wright, currently living in London. I just last month, actually, I started at 21 Shares as global head of marketing. So running all things marketing at 21 Shares. And that was actually my first job in crypto. So prior to that, I've had a long career in traditional finance. So 5 years at BlackRock before this, and then a decade before that at UBS and then some other roles before that. So a lot of experience in traditional finance. Actually started off as a quant equity analyst, and then moved into marketing positions about 6 years ago, and yeah, gone from there onwards.
Wow, wow, wow. So, obviously, making that transition, right? Coming from traditional finance, how has your perspective on kind of growth and innovation changed since you've joined 21 Shares? I mean, you had that long background in TradFi. So, kind of from a mindset standpoint, how has that changed being on the team now?
Yeah, so I guess it was probably the driver for me wanting to move into crypto, to be honest. So, traditional finance it's been a hub of innovation for what, 100 years, but you could argue that it's slowed in the last 10. And I probably missed one of the last waves in the early 2000s. And so moving into crypto is kind of what I was looking for. And honestly, since I've been here, so only 2 months professionally, longer than that personally, looking at the space. But I mean, the pace of innovation and the hunger to drive it is honestly like something I've not experienced before. It's really is quite exhilarating.
And talk to me a little bit about that, right? Some of the things that I would say naturally just kind of attracted you to the space. There are a lot of people I would say maybe in our audience that are maybe even tuning into the episode on a future date that are maybe curious about this industry. They might have some reservations, or they may be working in traditional finance right now. So, you know, what was it that originally brought you to be able to make that leap of faith?
Yeah, so back at the start of my career, one of the things that really attracted me to finance and banking in general was just the people and the talent. And I've worked in this space in traditional finance for about 19 years, and honestly, what kept me there was the people and just how smart the talent is there. And I just love being around smart people. You learn stuff all the time. You have deep conversations, and over the last, I guess, year or so, when I was starting to toy with the idea of moving from traditional finance into to crypto, it was I was kind of like hesitating, I guess, a little bit because I just, again, the people I work with are so important, and those kind of conversations and those deep things you discuss. And then I started meeting and networking people within the crypto industry, and this won't be news to anyone who's in the industry, but from the outside, you don't really know. And I was like, there are it's the same within this industry, and when you get inside it, I guess I was shocked. I shouldn't have been, but I was shocked at just, again, the depth of smart, hungry, driven people that, I guess the more you think about it, the more it does make sense. Like crypto, as it's been developing, it is quite complex, and so it's going to attract smart people, and and now I'm on the inside. I'm starting to see this, and it's exactly, I guess, it's what you would hope. So I guess if anybody's thinking of this and thinking, is it the right time? Should I be looking to move into crypto? And you're worried about how maybe how mature the industry is, even on an institutional side. Like honestly, you needn't be. Like it surprised me massively to the upside that the infrastructure that's been built, the conversations that happen with huge financial institutions. It's way on the outside you don't really appreciate it, but it's a lot more developed than you might think. And we're still like it's not the first minute of the day, but it's definitely still the first hour of the day, I would say, within crypto. So there's so much more that's going to happen. But again, it surprised me just how established the industry is already.
Yeah, yeah, we've already made a lot of strides for sure. And, you know, for people that might not be familiar with how important 21 Shares is in terms of what they've done for the space so far, can you bring us back, Chris, and on a very just kind of, I would say, elementary level, help us understand what makes 21 Shares special and why maybe even, the average Joe out there on the street should be paying attention?
Yeah. So what 21 Shares done is honest. I'm in awe of what our founders have built since they started 6 years ago. And actually, my origin story with crypto was it started back in 2017. I was at UBS at the time as an analyst and a cross asset analyst in the investment office. And Bitcoin was on a bit of a fly at the time. I think it'd gone up to like four, seven, $8,000 for a bit for Bitcoin, which just seemed mad, absolutely mad. And so they wanted someone to have a look at the space. So I put my hand up. I've always been I guess a bit of a tech geek and wanted to learn more. So I remember buying some Bitcoin at the time to just really understand and understand what was going on and what it meant. And the narrative back then was it's a new means of payment and buying things. And so I bought some wallets, and I remember it taking like 3 4 days to a transaction to process and costing me like $30 to send 10 and all these kind of things. And so the conclusion I drew was like, it doesn't make sense. I don't get it. I don't get it. And then what? A few months later, Bitcoin started crashing again, back down from the highs of 10,000 down to I think 3 or 4 again, and we were proven right. But the funny thing was, literally across the street, like 30 meters away, is where the 21 Shares office is. And at that same time, Ophelia Schneider and Hani Rashvan, our co-founders, were having the same conversation and came to the conclusion that there's something in this, and we need to build a company on the back of it. And obviously they were right. And so, and I think what they've built is it's so important because crypto can be confusing and complex. And when something is confusing and complex, it could be, you can be dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. What they've built though with our range of products is like probably arguably the most secure and safest and easiest way to get access to crypto. And that access and that real kind of democratization of this forefront of innovation within finance and securing people's wealth and helping them save and invest for the future, like it's so powerful. And there's a lot of investments where people don't get access to because they can't invest in the size of a very wealthy person or a family office or institution. But with crypto, through products like ours and ETPs, anyone can access from just a few dollars. And I find that pretty important and quite motivating.
Yes, yes. So, for people in the audience that may not be up to speed with a lot of the jargon, especially, you just mentioned it, right? ETP, and then you hear ETF, and you see a lot of headlines that, this company's doing this and this company's doing that. Can you help educate us to the slight nuances and the differences between what an ETP and ETF is?
Yeah, yeah. No, we use a lot of acronyms and we shouldn't.
Yeah, we do.
So
Yeah.
TLAs, three-letter acronyms, as we say. So it's quite simple. So ETP, exchange traded products, is an umbrella term of which exchange traded funds is a type of. So one of those exchange traded products is an exchange traded fund. You also have exchange traded notes, exchange traded commodities, but that's all it is. It's an umbrella term for an instrument that gives you access to something. So simple as that, really.
Nice, fantastic. And you know, really, what I was kind of thinking about is there's so much going on in crypto right now. So, what excites you most about the changes, and how do you think that these shifts will just impact the nature of crypto investments moving forward?
Yeah, I think the most interesting, exciting thing we'll see from here going forward is just, I think, more broad adoption for crypto. And for me, crypto gets a bit of bad press sometimes in terms of people trading and some people making money, lots of people losing money. Um, but I kind of hope and I think that conversation is changing from one of trading to actually one of investing. And investing for a long time, for
Yeah,
decades, and I think that'll be really important. Like it always bothers me that you sometimes read or see in the press there'll be a headline about it'll be like Bitcoin and meme coins and all of this crypto, and it's like they are so different. Like what Bitcoin represents versus what Ethereum and Solana represent versus what meme coins are so different. And I almost feel it does a disservice to the opportunity it provides for people's financial freedom, financial future by bucketing them all together. Really the opportunity with something like Bitcoin to, to store your wealth, protect your value globally. Um, with Ethereum and Solana to gain access to literally the cutting edge of innovation within commerce, within finance. It does a disservice by bundling that with meme coins, which are a bit of fun. And for others may have a different view, but for me, they're not investments. It can be a bit of fun. You can buy a coin that represents something you find funny or align
yeah,
with, but it's not something I'd put my pension in.
yeah. And in terms of, I would just say having the conversation, because there's a saying, right, that any publicity is good publicity, and a lot of people are starting to that have never talked about crypto before. They're attracted to it because of something like meme coins, and especially recently with the Trump coin, right? But from an education standpoint, how do you see that as an opportunity for someone in your role and just as an organization such as 21 Shares to really continue to convey your message? Because when we chatted originally, you mentioned that you're not selling Coca-Cola, right? You're not marketing this, but you're marketing something that's completely different. So how is that marketing different, and how do you continuously have that kind of education first mindset while not kind of, I would say, diluting the message or or overwhelming people too much at first?
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. So I think anything, honestly, anything that gets people more interested and to think more about investing and using their money to help grow their wealth, like, is a good thing. Like, not enough people find investing interesting, and honestly, it's unfortunate, and and if meme coins can get people interested there, then actually you could argue that's a very good thing. What
Yeah,
would we would want to do though is then once they're interested, then help to educate them that that could be a bit of fun, like have a little play, buy some coins that you find funny or whatever it may be. But if you want to start, accumulating wealth,
yeah,
even saving like $10 a month or something, do that in a more mature, safer asset that represents something, which is more than a bit of fun. It represents either you know fundamental value somehow or a store of value, and then our role is to help people then, I guess, just further their education, help them understand the benefit of adding, I guess, again, making any investment, but then also in particular for us, the value that crypto investments can make for your personal financial success, however you define that, your financial freedom, storing your and growing your wealth, all of these things.
Yeah. And what are some of the kind of advancements in DeFi that are interesting to you? Because I know that, self custody, DeFi, that was one of the original kind of, I would say, things that drew you to this space. So, what are some things that are going on, maybe just products that you guys are working on, but industry wide, that are really interesting to you? And maybe some misunderstandings are maybe not full understanding of the capabilities of DeFi that may be going on right now.
Yeah, so what I guess one of them that sticks out to me is with DeFi is just I guess what it represents, and there's many applications on chain with DeFi, different applications that allow you to be the bank, which I find like philosophically just so interesting. I've gone on such a journey of learning everything about this. I find it someone who's been in banking for like nearly 2 decades, and seeing the success the banks have through their operations. Now, again, democratizing access to that so anyone can be a participant in this from just such a small amount is really interesting. And then now with where we're going in terms of some of the tokens that are being released on chain for some of these DeFi applications, the fact that you can go and buy those, and if it's a project you believe in or a community you're a part of, and you can represent that interest, maybe through an investment, it's equivalent of making I guess a private equity stake in a company. But again, instead of it being the preserve of the very wealthy or the very able, anyone can do it. I guess the hardest bit is maybe acquiring the knowledge and trying to find the areas that represent value and products that hopefully will be successful. But yeah, I find that really interesting.
Yeah. And that kind of makes me think about, tokenization, right? And just the ability to kind of access different markets with that weren't accessible before, or maybe people needed private credit and things like that. So, what other kind of opportunities do you see for people who want to invest in these kind of, I would say, traditional, hard to reach assets that the technology is going to somewhat make more possible?
Yeah, so I mean, like again, companies like ours who are giving that access in the easiest and I guess um, most familiar way is I guess is super important. So being able to just buy or gain access to some of these tokens and these projects through how it works in the US, but like in the UK, your savings accounts or your pension accounts is really important. And I think you're gonna see more of this, and then there's a place for buying and people that want to go down the rabbit hole of buying on chain and getting deeper into DeFi and different areas. But I think both will coexist. But I guess what we have is just more for people that want to, whether it's taking more of a portfolio approach or more of a personal finance approach. I think these products work very well for that.
Yeah, fantastic. So I want to get a little bit more kind of to you in the culture in the organization. What makes your team special? And I know that you kind of had this quant analyst background, and you come from research, and you're involved with building a team right now. What is it about the people, right? I know that we had talked about love and passion being something that's very important to being successful in this industry. So talk to me a little bit more about the kind of individuals that you seek to surround yourself around, the kind of culture of the organization in general, and how you all are able to stay resilient through the ups and downs.
Yeah, I still remember my first day coming into the office in Zurich, and like I'd been down like I mentioned down the wormhole on DeFi and things for quite some time. Yeah, on Discord chats and things like this, and walking into the office was like entering a Discord chat. Like the passion
Wow.
and the interest people have for this space is like something I've never experienced. Like you don't get that same level of interest and passion for what you do when you're talking about I don't know the bond market or the equity market or is just different. I'm sure that there are pockets, of course there are, but it's on another level within this space, and it's so infectious. Like I thought I knew quite a lot, and you come and meet true experts, and you realize you know barely nothing. But that's kind of the joy, right? There's so much to learn, and so that was one thing, and then I guess the people within the company, they have that passion, the love for what they do, like you say. But I think what you've also got, because it's like, I mean, I've only just been in this industry working for 2 months now, but the people that have been here for few years already, they were there because they found this space so interesting, and they were hungry and they were prepared to take a risk, and they've done well by taking that risk early, and so most of the industry and the people we work with are those people still, and so they are very interested in what they do. They're super hungry, super smart. um, we're still a relatively small company, 100 employees. So we do a bit of everything. Everyone just chips in to get stuff done. Like our list of things we want to achieve and our ambition is huge. Like I've just been running it up for the year or the 3 years ahead, and it's huge. I don't know how we're going to get to it, but like we'll just we'll chip away and get it done. But like with people who love what they do, just enjoy coming to work every day, because it is, I think, more and more you're seeing crypto like hit the news. It's on the front page of papers. It's in people's minds more and more, and like to be a part of that journey is it's super rewarding. And most companies in this space like ours, if you join one, like you will truly have direct impact on what that company does, and and what it achieves. It'll be very different from a huge successful corporate that's been around for a long time, has tens of thousands of employees. You can see the impact you're having, and that's
Yeah.
massive.
Be a little bit more, it's more tangible, right? And also too, just talking about the fast-paced nature of this industry, and I'm sure that a lot of people probably tell you, hey Chris, this industry moves at the speed of light. It's a million miles per second. Now that you're actually here, do you feel that it's as fast as you imagined, or do you feel that it's even faster than that?
Probably faster, yeah. Probably faster. So I've never I've never had a job before where I've really been annoyed that there's only 24 hours in the day, or that I'm human and can only work for so many hours a day. Like there's so much we want to do. There's there's so much you want to do. Like it's so interesting, and like you say, like the pace of ch- change and innovation, and is just like it's mind blowing. I mean, some of the things like um, the innovations you see on chain. Like I was reading and learning about something the other day, revenue sharing tokens and projects like that as an innovation, and tech for good, and how it's going to help um, just kind of push on people's I guess relationship with what how they invest in things, and it really is tech for good, and that's it. It's so interesting and rewarding. But it's definitely, yeah. I thought it'd be fast, but it's definitely faster. And staying abreast of these innovations is, I mean, it's part of the joy, right? You never want to stop learning, and there is no chance, there is no chance you'll stop learning if you move into this industry anytime
Yeah.
soon.
Never a dull moment. And speaking of that, right, with so much coming at you and as an organization and just as an individual, and with each person having their own roles and their own focus, how do you stay abreast of what really matters? And how do you kind of not get lost in the sauce? Because it's just so much noise that's going around. And how do you figure out what to really focus on and decipher versus stuff that you maybe need to put to the side or maybe even get to it a little bit later down the line?
Yeah, so it'd be super easy for me to get sidetracked with all the noise, like you say. Now, one of the things that really attracted me to 21 Shares really was their research team. So my background, I was an analyst, I was a researcher for a long time, and so for me, and what we'll do, within marketing, is research is central. Like, we don't want to we don't want to tell people we've got a great product. We want to show them, and so
Yes.
our research team, you can read all of our research, it's all publicly available on our website. Um, but being on the inside and now sitting next to the research team, what 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 how close they are on everything that's going on. They distill so well, and so that's really how I stay focused. Literally just before I jumped on this, we had a weekly research call, and I encourage everyone within my team within marketing to join these calls. Like, point, there's so much what we do to have the conversation we need to have with our clients, potential clients at scale, through the marketing team. We need to be on point. We need to, what we need to be talking about, the way we need to be talking about it, how people are feeling about a topic. What frictions can we ease with content? How can we help them understand what they need to understand? How all of these things. And so yeah, I know it's maybe a bit of a cheat answer because not everyone has access to it. But like the research team is key. But you can access all their content on our website. You can sign up to their newsletter and get all of their thinking on a weekly basis. So it is available, but it's nice sitting next to them.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, different people, different departments getting access to research and just kind of collectively thinking, right? And that may not be the way that it's normally is in other kind of industries, right? I feel like somewhat departments are very siloed, and you're not going to usually have the research and the quants,
Mm,
having a chat with the marketing and the marketing actually having a chat with the sales. And I think that's also too because you're a much more close knit team. And speaking about being close knit team and just the global nature of your organization, you had mentioned that you're working in you spend some time in Zurich and you spend time between London and for those that aren't really kind of familiar, can you just give us a little bit of a history lesson about what's it like working in Zurich and also to London, the differences in the styles and the approaches and how that's kind of been able to shape your style and how you've been able to be successful, not also you, but the organization in the whole.
yeah, they are very different. So all of my career has been in finance. So I've lived in London, I've lived in Zurich, all in finance. Now in crypto, but obviously still finance adjacent. Um, and, and they are very different. One of the things that struck me the most, about, say, London versus Zurich is because London is so big. It's 8 million people. It's huge. You can, and you do, have a whole network of professional group and personal friends who only exist within your industry, because there's a million of them. And even within your corner of the industry, so my prior role was in asset management, they're all in that bit of the financial industry. And so where you've got a huge amount, not unparalleled amount of depth within those swim lanes in a city like London, and within your groups, and you have a chamber and an echo chamber of that. Somewhere like Zurich, a city far smaller. For me, I'm not a big city person, so a perfect size city for me, Zurich. Um, your network will naturally span kind of different sectors and industries, and so one of the things that surprised me about you know Zurich is that just how much closer, I guess, crypto feels to more kind of general daily kind of conversation and the meeting people within the industry. I think in a city like London, New York would be the same. You have to seek that out because you may never meet
Mm.
people outside of your group, because there's just, you could have a group of just people do what you do. Where in a smaller city, there's a benefit. So I think if you're in London, like, you have probably arguably, same as New York, like, unparalleled access to people doing all kinds of things, and there'll be more of them doing everything. But I think you have to you have to do more of a job to find them, to step outside your own circles to find it. Whereas in a city Zurich size, you can transverse different sectors, meet people that work in different industries, maybe attend some events. It'll be a lot more. It's almost easier to do it. So that was something that really struck me as a difference between them.
Yeah, I mean, also too, I would say that Switzerland's been known for being more, banking and things of that nature in its origin, but that's obviously changed. So, how do you feel? Like, how do you think that they've been able to do that? Have such a crazy shift from the old, traditional type of mindset to being someone that is just so fast forward thinking and accepting of innovation. And I mean, London's
Yeah, I
also
mean, I think
extremely old when it comes to banking, so they also have their their
yeah,
their their kind of histories with banking and things like that. But as you're talking, like it seems like just the mindset or just the overall general public is a little bit different. So, can you help talk about the similarities or juxtapose?
yeah, I guess yeah, you're right. They've both been innovating for decades, 100 plus years. But I guess they've done it in gone about it in a different way. So
Mm.
in Switzerland, traditionally, a long time ago, someone like a UBS is over 150 years old now. I was actually there when they had the 150th birthday, so I have a pen with 150 years of UBS at home. Um, and they've been through a lot of change, and I guess that's still going. But Switzerland used to bank in Switzerland because it was hidden and private, and then it stopped being hidden and private. And so they needed to reinvent a new value prop to why you would bank in Switzerland. And then that kind of they laid on the trust. And in my prior role at UBS, we were part of that. Trying to create additional value for why you would bank in Switzerland, and it was all around the investment advice you would get. Help you building your portfolio, in traditional finance sense, and they would innovate in those ways. And if you are running a say a family office or something like this, then the network and what you have there and the whole industry around that is probably second to none. I think in London, cities like London, you've got a much bigger focus on investment banking and scale, and being
Mm.
the you know the corporate banking centers of the world, and an innovation that way. So they've taken different approaches. I guess what Switzerland's also done well is within our space within crypto, and why we're headquartered in Switzerland in Zurich, is they wanted to stay at the forefront of innovation, staying at the forefront of finance. So they put early regulation on crypto to make it and help people, innovate and found companies there, in a secure way, and way that gives them, the sandbox they need to experiment and build.
Yeah. And from a regional perspective, this is a question, and similar to the question that I had as well too. This is from one of the guests in the audience. From a regional perspective, are there any particular markets that 21 Shares is looking to reach in the near future? And I would say, kind of adding to that, as the crypto uh, global adoption continues, uh, do you see any particular areas or regions leading the way? And really, kind of how is 21 Shares preparing for that growth in the future?
Yeah, so we can't be everywhere all the time. So we have to choose our bets. I think the US is becoming it was always been important, and I think you're gonna hopefully have at least four very progressive years of regulation and an encouragement of innovation within this space in the US. And so I think that's a really interesting market going forward. Um, Other markets like I'm in London today are a little bit more. They're taking a more slower approach to regulating on
Mm,
crypto. Maybe taking their time more, but you know what I think that we'll have to be. It'll take a little bit of time to see where that lands and where we get to. But I think much of Europe is now has crypto regulation. It's open to retail investors. Obviously, the US is, to an extent, not as much as Switzerland or Germany in terms of the type of products you can buy and the different coins you can buy. But it feels like it's all coming. Um, I guess there was a lot priced into markets, crypto markets, ahead of the inauguration, and it reminds you of that saying you should buy the rumor, sell the fact.
Yeah.
That seemed to play out as people got disappointed. But I mean, I think that the direction is clear.
Yeah. And, in terms of, I would just say, more traditional investors entering the space, how are you kind of seeing these new and hybrid type of crypto investment products kind of just changing the way that these type of traditional investors think about their portfolios? And I mean, I know that it was like, even like more recently, it's like, some of the large um, individuals that are at these banks and whatnot would say that maybe you can allocate, maybe 1% or 2% of your portfolio to this. So, do you feel that that's changing? And at what kind of rate do you feel that this acceptance is just going to continue to get more mainstream?
Yeah, so it's definitely changing. I think it's probably taking longer than many of us would have thought, but maybe that's naive. Like maybe
Why do you think that is?
I mean, it will take as long as it don't take. I think because it can be complex. Uh, when you first at its worst, crypto can be complicated in terms of dealing with wallets and buying on chain, and there's a lot of fans of self custody. I personally not I struggle with self custody a little bit. It scares me to an extent, and but anyway, that whole conversation just doesn't exist within traditional finance. Like when you're buying some stock of whatever stock you buy, you never stop to think where's it custodied, or
Yeah,
all of these things, and who's actually holding it. You trust. You just trust where it is because whoever you're doing it with, in the most cases, have been there for a very long time, or you trust somehow. And then within crypto, we have there's a trust issue, and so I think that's what's holding a lot of people back. I have a lot of conversations with people who are they would love to get in and do more and maybe invest more with it's usually Bitcoin. Like when it's your first investment, it's usually Bitcoin, but it's quite complicated. Where do I buy? There's even if I buy on an exchange, these are names I've never heard of before. I don't see it through my regular you know, savings account to buy or something like this. So there's that. Um, and I think also a lot of the conversation, like the public conversation you see on maybe a lot of social media channels, doesn't always build the trust you need to have with
mm,
making financial decisions. Like it's you didn't and and rightly people want to know the risk that they're taking when they're making investments. And so, part of our job really is to help people understand, so that the risks of any mistake, but you go in eyes wide open, and the risks of investing, the risks of not investing, but also providing transparency on what to expect. Like a pullback in Bitcoin, if we see one this year, you shouldn't be surprised if it falls maybe 30%. Like it's just it's a younger asset. It will have more volatility. Like any newer, younger small cap company may have more volatility, and so there's a job we need to do there. But I think for me, people who are looking to invest, it's usually either they haven't got it feels a bit complicated, or uh, they haven't got the level of trust or comfort. Maybe it's more comfort in investing in crypto, and so they may hold 1%, 2%. Like you choose your number for you. What's your ideal allocation? Like but I suspect most people are not at their ideal allocation where they would like to be. Be that whatever 5, 10, 20, however, wherever it is for that each individual, because they're not yet comfortable, and that comfort will just take time. It's just because it's less familiar. Stock markets are 150 years old. Crypto markets are 15. So um, it'll just come with time.
Yeah, and maybe adding a little bit even onto that question, Chris, having worked both in traditional finance and now, making that leap to crypto, what are some of the kind of, I would say, key differences and similarities in how both of these industries kind of approach growth and innovation? Would you say that the traditionals are a lot more risk adverse, or that there just is a certain hierarchy or a way that things have been done, and they just don't want to rock the boat too much? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it would be, well, the scrutiny on the big financial institutions is rightly huge. A lot of them are too big to fail. Like they are so central to everything we do, and because of that, and because of the sheer size of some of the trading and orders they do, they have to be. It's right, they're risk averse. Um, but I guess for within crypto, you're not. But what that also does is slows down innovation, and it will, they will not be first to do things, but they will move in. I think in crypto we are a lot more agile. um, I think we've proven, like, I mean, we're a lot more agile. We're a lot, I say, we're newer, but I mean 21 shares has been going over 6 years now. And so we are strongly battle tested, through some
Yes.
pretty rocky markets and some deep, cold crypto winters in that time. And the products have functioned as expected, every time. So, I think these kind of proof points are crucial. But you know, in the US, was it last week before, I think, with 1 year since the ETFs launched, that's now got a track record of functioning as expected. And I think, the longer you go on, the more you're going to see people just gaining comfort that these products are a
Yeah.
good, secure way of accessing crypto markets.
Yeah. Have you been surprised by the success of a lot of these ETFs and ETPs? I mean, within months, some of these products were doing what more traditional ones took, a decade to do. So were you and others kind of working in the industry? I know that there was a lot of hype around this, and you did all the research and you said like this is going to be successful, but were you ready for honestly that amount of success that soon?
Yeah, so I was at BlackRock, when the IBIT was being created, and I think we knew that they would be successful. There's a lot of demand for these products, but I think the extent of it shocked everyone. Like I think because also what's interesting about crypto, which is unique within the investment world and the asset world, is that it's an asset class that's been driven by retail first, and institutions are now adopting. Whereas usually, always, it's the other way around. So, like, take private equity. Say it's professional institutional investors, and then you start getting others coming in. Financial markets. Buying stocks would have been professionals, and now it's retail. I think because of that, everyone underestimated just how much retail were crying out for, again, products they can buy through their savings accounts, pension accounts, in a secure way, on a platform they're familiar with a broker they're familiar with. Um, and that pent up demand from retail, I think, shocked everyone.
Yeah. Imagine that, retail leading the way. Crazy times for sure. So there's obviously a lot of talk about Bitcoin reserves, and is a Bitcoin a reserve asset, and a lot of countries are having conversations about this. Um, why do you or do you not think that this will eventually happen, and how could a Bitcoin reserve potentially just influence Bitcoin's intrinsic value over the years?
Yeah. So I guess we don't know. Um, we don't know yet what may or may not happen there. I think, you may see if one large country starts to, um, try and build one, maybe others. There may be a domino effect of others following suit, but we don't know for sure. I think what it would do, though, would probably be, I suspect, to an extent, I don't know where it would end up being, but it would. depends on the size of any reserve that may or may not be built, but it would it would re it would put a new baseline value maybe on Bitcoin, and then you would start to, I think, the market dynamics would then be at play, but it would just probably rebase where we are. The level, you don't know, but I think, I mean, there's a, there, if you believe in Bitcoin, there's an argument for it. If a globally, an asset that no single country can truly own or work with or devalue or inflate, or you know that has the appetite for sure.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So, kind of coming up here, I mean, wow, time does fly by. We have about 15 minutes, and I want to make sure that we can cover some interesting things that you guys have going on internally, make sure that folks in the audience can know where to go to find additional information. But looking ahead, right, what are some of the kind of exciting trends that you see in crypto, and what do you think is going to kind of have the biggest impact in the near term, and then like kind of like let's push this out a few years from now. Like I know that no one has a crystal ball, but from your best estimation and just your understanding of the space, where do you think that we can go?
So I get maybe two things. I think the more broader adoption of crypto and cryptos with portfolios is really interesting. I think I think we'll see more and more people to looking to add. I find that if a lot of people, not all, but a lot of people that maybe have a negative view of something like Bitcoin, it can stem from not having maybe time or taking the time to really understand it and learn about it themselves. Maybe they're learning from a a source that has a bias, a pre-existing bias, which may align to you, but it may not. And only by doing your own research will you find if that validates that bias that they have and you align to it, or actually it challenges that bias for you. And so I think more people that spend the time to understand what crypto is and what blockchain technologies will enable, um, that will start to see a broader investor base. We'll start to see a broader investor base, and also a deeper investor base. So more people starting to add crypto to their portfolio, but then also more people starting to right size their allocation, sizing up their allocations. So that would be one. And then the second would be something we talked about earlier in this call on access to some really fascinating projects, like whatever it is your thing, whether that's DeFi, gaming, AI, meme coins, whatever it may be. um, you can there will be a really deep community, and so to get into investing, you can join these communities and just start to learn and engage and meet like-minded people. So I think you'll see the both, like these communities having creating investing as a much more interesting way, something that's a bit more personal, allowing you to find projects that just matter to you, and then also a kind of a broader and deeper investor base as well.
Yeah, yeah. And 2024 was a tremendous year of growth and success for you guys, right? Like, how does your, I would say, company approach to investments help you stand out, and where do you kind of see it heading in the future?
Yeah, so we've done a great job in our, and it's kind of who we are as a company, as a brand, in terms of innovation and being first. And given our size, we can we can launch products on tokens that are maybe too small for a big player. So we pride ourselves on spotting trends and being first. And whether that's some of our just, I guess, broader access to single tokens, to we launched some of the first staking tokens so you can get yield on some of the holdings you've got, um, not for the US but baskets as well. Like, we will always and we will be able to be agile and provide access and exposure to areas of the market that maybe others won't. So that I think that's what's been key to our success: just being early, being fast, and like I say, doing it well. Like our I mentioned our research team, and the treasure troves of information that they're sitting on and harvesting and sniffing for. But we also have, I think, the probably one of the biggest, the deepest capital markets teams as well. So in terms of the liquidity we can provide to make sure that our products are always trading, they're strongly battle tested. Um, that also has been absolutely crucial to how we've got to where we are today.
Yeah. And kind of closing out, I would say from someone that's, you've been in the space obviously before entering into it professionally, but you were able to successfully make that transition. And there are a lot of other people out there that may be reluctant or kind of curious or, say like, what are some words of wisdom that you would give to people in a similar situation, or, the pure tradfi background people that are starting to maybe get their friends come up to them and say, "Hey, maybe you should check out this crypto thing." Like, what's your advice that you would give to someone maybe in your seat 2 years ago today?
Yeah. So I think if you find this space interesting, like really interesting, then like, I for me, I should have gone 2 years ago. So go now. Like you will, like honestly, it feels. I think when you're in a working in traditional finance, it is so. It feels like such a risk to jump into working in crypto. The reality is, it's a lot more mature than you realize. Like it really is, and so the risk is actually far smaller than you think, and the experience you bring from your years working in TradFi and my case marketing within TradFi, and how we know how to message to certain client groups and segments. This is all in so for 21 shares as perspective, this is all like gold that we need to move on and continue to build our company. So, so really don't underestimate the value you can provide based on the experience you've built um, from within your TradFi career. And like I say, the risk is not as big as you realize. But I do think you've got to really enjoy. You want to enjoy crypto. You will have a lot of fun. You'll never work another day in your life if you really enjoy it. And so, if you do, you'll get everything you want. Like I say, the passion, the conversations we have about all the latest news and coins. And last Monday, everyone came in talking about Trump and Melania coins, like whatever it is. It's just there's so much going on. It's really interesting.
Yeah, for sure. And I know that you're all are in a phase of growth as well too. So for people that are looking to potentially join your organization, there may be people here that are listening, people that are tuning in the future and get wind of what's going on and be like, "Wow, this is a great place. I'm all about it." What are some deal breakers or red flags? And I don't want to be like think of it as spin it even like negatively, but like, what are some things, are traits or characteristics that you look for in people that could potentially be a part of your team? And what are some things that, ultimately just stand out to you as like areas that you would rather avoid?
Yeah. So I typically hire for um, like perseverance and grit and hunger. And I think if you've got those things and an interest, you will achieve whatever you want to achieve. Like again, if you really enjoy it and you've got those, hunger, grit, perseverance, you will you will learn anything you need to learn because you just find it fascinating. And it's again, you don't work another day in your life. It's easy to fill the knowledge gap that you may have. So so that is crucial for me. I think also, and I've always had this, but even more so now is like you've got to be prepared to put your hand up for stuff. We just need to get stuff done. I remember Barack Obama always talked about this. He just wants people around him to get stuff done, and that's absolutely crucial as well. And then things that would put me off would be people maybe coming to us because I think crypto is a cool place to be and they think they should be in it. And it's if you're not really in it and you don't really find it interesting, then you can usually see through that. And I don't think you're doing yourself favors. Um, and so I would look to avoid that. You got to have passion for what you do. It makes it so much more interesting, so much more easier. You'll achieve more. You'll be more successful, and you'll have a lot more fun along the way.
Yes, yes. Got to be full in, got to be all in if you want to get into this industry for sure. So, leaving us here, what's the best way, Chris, that folks can get in touch with you? Are you guys doing any kind of like internships? Are you open to volunteer opportunities? Are you going to be at any kind of upcoming events? Like anything else cool that's going on in the roadmap for 2025 that people should be aware of, and how best should they continue to follow you guys?
Yeah. So three ways. Um, LinkedIn. So follow us on follow our LinkedIn channel. On there, we post all of our jobs all around the world. On there, you'll also see and get access there to different webinars we're doing, different pieces of content on there. On our website would be anyone who's getting into the space. Look on our website. I did this even before I started talking to 21 Shares. I was actually consuming their research on their website because there's so much educational content on the website. That can just there's primers, there's education, there's market updates. For every coin, every chain, you'll find something. So our website is crucial. And then if you want kind of more crypto degen type content and what we're thinking and what we're seeing, then follow us on X. That's where we have those conversations.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, this has been absolutely great having a conversation with you, Chris. Looking forward to following all the awesome things that you'll be doing this year and the years beyond. And really thankful for everyone that took the time to join in this conversation today. We had some great questions from the audience. We didn't get time to get to all of them, but maybe we'll come back 6 months from now, Chris, and see how things are going. And there's going to be a million things that probably changed in our industry from now to then. But I appreciate you taking the time. And for everyone that joined us today, you could be doing anything else in the world, but you chose to be here. And we all appreciate it. Look forward to some awesome conversations coming up. We have another episode coming up this Friday. Definitely want to stay tuned for that. And we will be getting this live episode uploaded to YouTube within the next 24 to 48 hours. And if you didn't get a chance to check it out today, definitely look for that coming out soon. And y'all have a great day. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye, guys.